So, lads, today we saw Chloe Peterson earlier on today talking about Caitlin Clark with the Fever team, in practice with the backups. Simple as that. We saw her in practice with the backups, and now we're after listening to what Stephanie White has had to say. And it doesn't sound great. 30 minutes ago, this is Stephanie White.
Put that behind you and kind of focus on this one because all these games are big now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have a choice. It's just you got to move on to the next. We got to learn from it. Particularly the highlighted levels of game plan execution. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well. I thought we passed up shots. So making sure that we have that mentality that we've got to take open shots, and regardless of whether they go in or not, we still have to take them. It helps with our spacing. It helps with our offensive rebounding opportunities. So we've got to be better in that.
You talked before the road trip about wanting to get Caitlin some contact opportunities in practice. Just in the practices you've been able to have on this trip, has she been able to do contact practices or full-on practices?
No, she's just been doing mostly shooting and individuals.
So I don't think by the sounds of things, she's not close to being back. If you've heard anything from Stephanie White, this sounds like she's not close to being back. And I'm saying, what do I mean by that? If you guys don't know, Stephanie White literally said that she needs to see how Caitlin Clark does with contact. She needs to see how Caitlin Clark does when she gets tired. She needs to see how Caitlin Clark does in all these different situations. She needs to see all of that before she's going to give the okay to Caitlin Clark. That is something that she has absolutely said. However, we're now at a situation where Caitlin Clark has just been practicing, and not only that, we've seen, obviously, Caitlin basically on 5-0. And this is what she said.
Has she been able to do contact practices or full-on practices?
No, she's just been doing mostly shooting and individual stuff, yeah.
And with only a week left in the season, do you anticipate her, coming back still before the end of the regular season?
That's the hope. She's working as hard as she can to make sure that she is coming back or is capable of coming back. Again, I think that the long-term, viewpoint of her health and wellness is the most important thing.
That sounds like a no. I mean this when I say this. Every single thing is cryptic with the Fever. Basically she's not close to coming back. But, our goal is for her to be back this season. Our goal is for her to be back during this season. But also, she's not close to being back and the season ends in 5 days. Or 6 days. I think their last game, am I right in saying is it a week from today or 6 days from today? I think it's a week from today. They have one game left. They have one game left that kind of matters. Well, not one game left. They have one game on the away trip, which she's not playing. And then they've got 3. The Sky, the Mystics, and the Lynx. And they're not going to bring her back in a must-win game. And Are they planning on bringing her back just for the playoffs? Because she's at the position now where, according to Steph White herself, based on previous criteria, she's not close to being back. And I mean this, where it's they said they're not going to bring her back off no non-contact practices, and today's their last real practice. Maybe they have a practice on Thursday, but they've got one practice for the rest of the season. They've got one real practice that it's not just a shoot around and walk through for the rest of the season. So it's basically now a case of, because they have to travel back from Phoenix, it's a late game. They might have Thursday off. There might not be a practice. And Stephanie White has already said that Caitlin Clark's not being, they're not going to play her until she's fully ramped up. I don't have a clue what's going on. It's so by the sounds of things, it's a no. But if it's a no, then why the fuck is she practicing at all? If she's done for the season, just write her off for the season. But everything seems to be, logic would suggest that she's trying to ramp it up. She's in practice and everything. That she'd be trying to come back and they'd be trying to get her back. That's what logic would say. But logic would also tell you that if she was this isn't one of those, she's been out 7 weeks. This isn't one of those things where all of a sudden they're going to figure out whether or not she's okay to play in a day. If she's not 90%, with being out 6 weeks, if she is not 90% of the way there, If she has to be 1,000,000% healed to be practicing. But if she's not 90% of the way there today, she's not going to be ready by the end of the regular season. And if that's the case, just let us know. Let us know. This could be a case where Caitlin's trying to work her way back and the Indiana Fever team are saying no. The team might be just saying, look, it is not worth it. It is our decision at the end of the day, whether or not you play. Or it could be Caitlin, the team pushing Caitlin back and Caitlin saying no. Who knows? Who knows? I think it's probably more than likely the former than the latter. That the organization is saying we are not risking Caitlin Clark. Because let's be real, we don't have much of a chance with or without her to win this year. We're not risking Caitlin Clark because we've only got 2 more chances with Caitlin Clark. In 2027, she's going to be gone. She's probably going to ask out. There might be something in the CBA that might let Caitlin Clark ask out in a year or two. So maybe they're like, you know what, we actually don't want to risk. If Caitlin gets injured again, we could be screwed. Maybe we don't want to risk it next year. If Caitlin gets hurt, plays and gets hurt, maybe free agents are going to be like, look, what the fuck is wrong with this medical staff? I don't want to play there. So there could be any number of reasons. But at the same time, we don't have a clue what's going on. It's the most cryptic shit ever. It is the most cryptic stuff ever. Like, Stephanie White has essentially said she's not close. Like, there's only 3 games left after tonight. No, why not say if she'll be back or not? Like, let's be honest. She's been out for so long. It's been nearly 2 months. You know whether or not Caitlin Clark's going to be back by the end of the regular season. Maybe you can make the argument because of the break for the playoffs and the Fever actually, their last regular season game is like 2 days before the regular season ends. You can make you can then say, look, if she's back, it's for the playoffs. But this whole, that's our plan. It's our plan that she's back for the end of the regular season. This is our plan. And I'm like, this is your plan? Your plan is that she's back for the end of the regular season. But like, at the end of the day, what relevance is that? What relevance is a plan? The plan seems to change every 2 minutes. And not only that, like the plan changes constantly. And here's a huge and here. You've got a week left in the regular season. Throw any plan out the damn window. Throw every single plan out the window. There is no plan. It is like, it's not, at this stage, it's not even try to get her back. Do or do not, there is no try. Do or do not, there is no try at this stage. There is a week to go in the regular season. Like, there's a lot of time where you're like, okay, yeah, giving vague answers is understandable. There's a lot of times where giving vague answers is not only understandable, but completely fine. Like, at the end of the day, when she first got injured, you didn't know, even as long as a couple of weeks ago, giving vague answers, being like, look, it is what it is. But now there's a week to go in the regular season. You have 1 more practice for the entire year. Your last practice is going to be on Thursday. You have 1 more practice this year. 1. And she hasn't done any contact. So basically, she is like 3 steps before playing. You've got to go, and then again, in these practices, you got to go full. It's, as Stephanie White said, she's just been shooting. So you've got to go from that to full speed, no contact, to full speed with contact, to full speed with contact for endurance. And they don't have enough practices to ramp her up in the specific way that Stephanie White has talked about. So either they're going to let her play with they're going to let her play after not fully ramping up properly in the exact same way as last time, or she's not going to play. And I think this might be on the organization. I don't even know if this is on the organization or Caitlin. I don't know who's making the final call. It could be either. Like, realistically, if the organization wanted to tank, the only logic for it being the organization is if the organization really wanted to tank. But if they want to tank, they wouldn't have taken Odyssey Sims. If they wanted to tank, they would have taken Serena Sundell, who legitimately cannot dribble past the halfway line in the WNBA. They would have taken a Serena Sundell and taken a chance if they wanted to tank. So I don't think they're trying to tank. I don't know what's going on. It's just weird. This secretive shit is weird. I don't know what's going on. It's all weird. Everything's weird. You have Chloe Peterson talking about her coming back, and then it turns out maybe Scott Agnes is, again, I think we should trust Scott Agnes at this stage, because he seems to be the only one who actually has the in. Like, it looks like, okay, yeah, Caitlin Clark's back. Let's do a little bit of things. But Scott Agnes, no timetable. Scott Agnes, 2 or 3 weeks ago, when people were talking about Caitlin Clark, Scott Agnes came out and was like, you know what, she's weeks away. She's weeks away. Scott Agnes seems to be the only person who's actually been accurate with information on Caitlin Clark's injury. Again, has he given out a crazy amount of information on her injury? No. Again, her return has to be soon, otherwise she'd be sitting out for the season. But at this stage, who knows? Who knows what's going on? I mean that. Who knows what's going on right now? I think nobody has a clue. I don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. The Fever don't seem to have a fucking clue. Caitlin Clark doesn't seem to have a clue, according to Sophie Cunningham. According to Sophie Cunningham, she doesn't even know when she's back. But yeah, that's the video. I'll see you guys.